France. July 14, 1789. The storming of the Bastille marked the beginning of the French Revolution. Angry Parisians stormed the Bastille prison, a symbol of royal tyranny, leading to violent clashes and ultimately the overthrow of the monarchy. The event signaled the start of profound political and social upheaval in France. Japan. August 6, 1945. The bombing of Hiroshima during World War II by the United States resulted in unprecedented destruction and loss of life. An estimated 70,000 people were killed instantly, with tens of thousands more dying later due to injuries and radiation exposure. Germany. January 27, 1945. The liberation of the Auschwitz concentration camp by Soviet forces revealed the full horror of the Holocaust. It marked the end of one of the darkest chapters in human history, where millions of Jews and other minorities were systematically murdered by the Nazi regime. Cambodia. April 17, 1975. The Khmer Rouge, led by Pol Pot, seized control of Cambodia and began a radical social restructuring that led to the deaths of approximately 1.7 million people through execution, forced labor, and starvation during their brutal reign from 1975 to 1979. South Africa. June 16, 1976. The Soweto uprising began as a protest by black South African students against the apartheid government's policy of forced education in Afrikaans. The police responded with brutal force, killing hundreds of protesters, many of whom were children. The event ignited widespread resistance against apartheid. Syria. March 15, 2011. The beginning of the Syrian civil war, which has resulted in hundreds of thousands of deaths, widespread displacement, and catastrophic destruction of infrastructure. The conflict, now in its second decade, has caused immense suffering for the Syrian people and triggered one of the largest humanitarian crises of the 21st century. United States, September 11, 2001, the terrorist attacks on the World Trade Center in New York City and the Pentagon in Arlington, Virginia, killed nearly 3,000 people and caused profound shock and grief across the nation. It marked the deadliest terrorist act in world history and led to significant changes in global security measures. India. August 15, 1947. The partition of India and Pakistan led to one of the largest mass migrations in history and resulted in widespread violence and bloodshed between Hindus, Muslims, and Sikhs. The exact death toll is unknown, but estimates range from several hundred thousand to 2 million. Russia. April 26, 1986. The Chernobyl nuclear disaster occurred when a reactor at the Chernobyl nuclear power plant in Ukraine exploded during a safety test. It released a massive amount of radioactive material into the atmosphere, causing widespread contamination and resulting in long-term health and environmental consequences. Australia. January 26, 1788. Known as Australia Day, this date marks the arrival of the first fleet of British ships at Port Jackson, New South Wales, and the beginning of British colonisation in Australia. For Indigenous Australians, it represents the start of dispossession, violence, and cultural genocide that followed European settlement. As a result, for many Indigenous Australians, it is a day of mourning rather than celebration.